Hi friends, I'm Rebecca. Welcome to Squintillions. In March 2020, I decided to try an experiment with real estate investment trusts, also known as REITs. I wanted to test out how a selection of REITs in the stock market held in my E Trade account would perform compared to the investments in my Fundrise account. My plan for this idea was laid out in my video, REITs Fundrise eREITs versus REITs in E Trade, which you may want to watch before this one if you haven't already seen it. Today I'm going to talk about the recent investments I made in these accounts and how they have grown since I made my previous update in January 2021. In April, I moved $500 into my E Trade account to be invested. I still had some cash left in the account that I had added in January, but didn't end up investing at that time. I did not open any new positions with this recent batch of investments, but looked for opportunities to add to some of the positions I had already. One criteria I used this time to decide which investments to add to was to look at the price-to-book ratio for each of my investments. I used the Morningstar website to do my research. At the time I made my purchases, each REIT had a price-to-book ratio near or under 2. I invested a total of $668.80 in 4 REITs. This broke down as follows. On April 27th, I set up all my limit orders and 3 of them went through that day. I bought 3 shares of American Campus Communities, ticker ACC, at $44.95 per share. American Campus Communities is the largest developer, owner, and manager of high-quality student housing in the United States. I also figured that with more businesses and schools beginning to open up across the country and students returning to physical classrooms, now was a good time to add to this position. The next position I added to was WP Carey, ticker WPC, a diversified net lease REIT with properties across the United States and Europe. I added 2 shares of WPC at a price of $73.25 each. Some positive news about this company is that WP Carey was able to maintain a 96% rate of rent collection over the last year, and that they just announced the acquisition of a 1.1 million square foot Class A logistics facility in the UK. In my town, I've noticed an increase of people out and about visiting restaurants and shopping at stores. While the malls aren't looking anywhere near as busy as they formerly were, I'm seeing a lot of people ready to embrace the world outside their homes, and for that reason, I wanted to add a few more shares to my portfolio from National Retail Properties, ticker NNN. I bought 3 shares of NNN for $47.20 each. They reported their Q1 earnings on May 4th. I was impressed to see that they maintained a 98.3% occupancy rate and have raised their 2021 guidance by about 15 cents per share. My final limit order for Store Capital Corporation, ticker STOR, wasn't going through, so I increased my buy price on May 4th. I bought 3 shares of this diversified net lease REIT for $35.75 per share. The next day, I noticed the price had dropped by about $1, so I added 2 more shares at $34.65 each. In their recent report, this REIT noted an increase in revenue of 2.5% in Q1 2021 versus the prior year, driven by the growth in number of locations and customers in their property investment portfolio. For me, this is another organization that will increasingly benefit as restrictions are removed and businesses can increase capacity and reopen across the country. Now, on to Fundrise. Since I added $500 to my E Trade account, I also needed to add $500 to Fundrise in April. But wait! You're thinking that I invested $668.80 recently, not $500. Remember that I had added equal amounts of money into both accounts in January, but I did not immediately invest some of the money I had added in E Trade. I had been thinking about adding a new REIT position, which I ended up changing my mind about, and then left the money sitting in the E Trade account until now. Anyway, in Fundrise, I split the $500 deposit into 4 investments. I decided I didn't want to use the Add Funds button, which would invest the money in one transaction and have Fundrise decide how it would get distributed among their eREITs. Instead, I put $200 into Fundrise's new interval fund and then chose 3 eREITs to invest into directly with $100 each. Only some of Fundrise's eREITs are open to me for direct investment, so there was limited availability as to what I could choose from. By looking at the all-time annual returns for what was available to invest in, and considering the balance of money in eREITs I already have in my Fundrise portfolio, I chose to add my cash to the Income eREIT, which had a 6.5% return, the Income eREIT II, with the highest all-time return of 7%, and the West Coast eREIT with a 5.2% return. The West Coast eREIT made up a much lower percentage of my portfolio, and I wanted to boost the cash level in it. Also, since I live in Los Angeles County, I wanted to increase my investment in my surrounding area. Fundrise kicked off the interval fund at the end of 2020, and it now has 12 active projects. They include stabilized apartments in Odessa, Florida, and Georgetown, Texas, home construction in Houston, Texas, and single-family rentals in various towns in Texas and Florida. Current account totals were taken on the morning of Friday, May 7th, 2021, and checked within a minute of each other. The total amount invested in my Fundrise account was $2,810.35. The current total in E Trade was $3,252.30. That means that my E Trade account with the REITs I have personally selected maintains the lead in the experiment. E Trade is up by $441.95 over my Fundrise account. If you are looking for short-term quick gains, you're probably not going to find it with REITs. If you are looking for a way to diversify your portfolio and earn steady, solid dividends to supplement your income, you might consider investing in REITs or Fundrise for the long term. You can check the description below for my referral link to Fundrise. Please do your own research and consider your personal circumstances, financial goals, risk tolerance, and timeline before committing to any investment. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to hit the like button. Click subscribe if you would like to see more content on personal finance and personal growth here on Squintillions.